Swampsniper here, and I am on a jet submarine. I feel a lot cooler than I am, so I'm totally giving you that look right now. You know the look. This is the submarine. This is called a reversible submersible sub that can send in an 8-man team, dive into a target, come back on, and extract without being seen. But that's not what this video is about. This video is more about this guy, Don Shipley, the guy with the beautiful head of hair. I mean, look at that hair. Isn't it magnificent? But this video isn't about his hair. It's also not about me acting like a complete idiot. But hey, I felt like a kid in a candy shop. Because of Don, I've gotten to do a lot of very cool things that I've been incredibly thankful for. I've gotten to ride in helicopters and jump out of them and zodiac boats and all sorts of cool stuff. But most importantly, Don has been a great mentor to me and has helped me learn my true passion, which is cinematography. Now, I met Don through Ballahack Airsoft Field, which is the airsoft field that I started 9 years ago. I built a rappel tower for him, range, all kinds of stuff. But more than that, I was able to buy a lot of my film equipment because he paid me to film his courses. I made probably 86 different episodes for him, and then got to do a lot of other cool projects. Through that, I got to learn a lot of stuff from him. Here's a quick example of what his course was like. It was called Extreme SEAL Experience.
My name's Don Shipley, retired Navy SEAL Senior Chief, and I own Extreme SEAL Experience. Men from all over the world, from all walks of life, all ages, all backgrounds, come to this training course to test themselves, to find out what they have deep inside. Using all veteran Navy SEAL instructors, we teach these men their capabilities. We teach them their limitations. We set them up for success, and we set them up for failure. We teach them that we succeed as a team and we fail as a team. With each new course comes new challenges, from the predictable to the unpredictable, from the safe to the dangerous, from comfortable to uncomfortable, from calm to complete chaos. There's never a dull day in Extreme SEAL Experience.
Now, a lot of what I filmed back then, I didn't know what the heck I was doing, and I still don't. So it's a constant process of learning and doing new stuff. Thankfully, I get to do Swampsniper and make these airsoft videos, and it's symbiotic with the operation that I have going on of running an airsoft field and trying to grow it and just enrich the airsoft community in general. He no longer runs Extreme SEAL. He actually liquidated a lot of his assets to me, so we got Zodiac boats and buses and the Deuce and a Half and other cool stuff. I love this guy. I can't speak highly enough of him. And he and his wife, Diane, started a charity called Extreme SEAL Adventures. They moved up north. They have this gorgeous property, and my wife and I got to visit there, and I made a whole video on his charity, but check out his charity. In the meantime, because through Don and the field, I've gotten to know a lot of guys, military experts and stuff that are also kind of involved in training and airsoft training and the field. I was like, what if I start making products where I can show people who they're learning stuff from, give the basics, set a good, kind of example for some stuff you can learn. Not show the only and the best way to do it, but just show how certain people do it. So a year and a half ago, I made this product on airsoftcamouflage.com. So it's a digital product. I hired these guys, Don, this guy named Austin, this guy named Chris. One's a history major. One was a Riveron Squadron 2. And we go over just basic camouflage stuff, weapons painting, gear painting, and the history of camouflage. So it's a cool, well-rounded product. On the site, you see who you're learning it from. It's $20. You can pay with PayPal or a card. This isn't a sales pitch for that, but just so you know, if you get it, if you don't even like it, you can, within 60 days, simply get your money back. But I figured, now that I have this channel, here's a cool opportunity to just throw in a nice chunk for free and show you the basics of some camouflage painting and just a taste of, you know, some techniques and stuff that Don put out there. So Senior Chief Navy SEAL, super funny, knows what he's talking about. Hope you guys enjoy this bit and hope you learn something from it. A lot of you guys already know a lot of stuff, so if you learn a couple things from it, you like the video, just thanks for subscribing and liking and all that good stuff. I'm gonna do a lot more stuff like this in the future. Without further delay, here is the first video of 12 on camouflage. This one covers face painting primarily.
I'm Don Shipley, retired Navy SEAL Senior Chief, and I'm doing a camouflage and concealment class today. Naval Special Warfare history is 71 proud and bloody years. We got our starts on the beaches in World War II. And back then, most of the frogmen that did use camouflage swimming up on those beaches at night simply used shoe polish. But you have two types of camouflage. You have natural and man-made. This uniform being a man-made, charcoal, mud, leaves, twigs being natural camouflage. A little bit of shoe polish on the guys was basically what they had back then. There wasn't any commercial stuff. The guys started coming ashore, the frogman, during the Korean War for saboteur ops, North Korean railroad tracks, tunnels, things like that, and would just blacken their faces. This was all done at night. And to today, from World War II to today's modern SEAL, 95% of the operations that we conduct are at night. Now, oftentimes, just blackening your face is enough. However, we lay up during the daytime and wait till it gets dark. So when you find the nastiest terrain, the most jaggers, and something that no one's going to find you in, that's where we slip into. Stand half of the guys on watch and eating, the other half are sleeping, but we camouflage our faces to that terrain. And this is a great pattern, an all-around pattern. You just never beat this kind of pattern for a lot of it. It's got its natural blacks and greens and lighter and browns. So when you look at this environment, and most environments, the jungle all over the planet, these greens, these browns, these blacks being the shadows, you have to look in deep inside to see. It's like seeing the leaves from the trees. You have to look deep inside to see those shadows, these different colors here. And so a lot of it, when the guys started operating in Vietnam through radio traffic and all different kinds of things, they were known as the men with green faces. And that's where the Vietnamese got the hell out of the area when the men with green faces started operating their backyards at night. So that's where the camouflage really came from, there to Vietnam, and has worked its way through to today's modern warrior, the modern day frogman, the SEALs. So there's two types of camouflage that you use, because basically in any form of warfare there's two types of operations. There's a reconnaissance operation, get in, get out without anybody knowing you were ever there, leave no trace, no footprints, and get out quietly. And there's direct action, where you expect to engage the enemy. You're expecting to make contact with them. And so there's basically two forms of camouflage face paint that go along with it. The reconnaissance type is a proper form of camouflage face paint. That's where you're going to lighten the recesses on your face, under your eyes. You'll darken your forehead, the bridge of your nose, your chin. Underneath your neck is a greener area. Underneath your eyes, it would get a lighter one. And that's based off of this pattern. It's camouflage and concealment 101. And then when you get into a direct action, when you plan on engaging the enemy to meet him, you'll paint some scary ass clown looking stuff on your face to scare the absolute bejesus out of that clown. You're in close contact with him, and you want to intimidate, gain the element of surprise and shock value out of that. So that's the two forms of camouflage. From the men with green faces in Vietnam to today's modern SEAL operating in the urban environments in Iraq, came the balaclava and pushed away from the use of camouflage face paint. And a lot of people think that the balaclava is used to conceal the identity of the wearer. And while in a lot of cases that's true, from Iraqi interpreters that fear for their families if they are recognized, to some of the drug work in South America by the guys that are going after the cartels, but it's not actually true. Most of it is used to conceal the facial features of the guy wearing it. So when you slap somebody up against the wall, one of those old mullahs, and he has nothing better to do than study your face, he can't read that face. So we got a young, good-looking guy here. After a few years, when he gets in some fights with Marines, loses a few teeth and getting a few scars on his face. But right now, he's not the scariest looking guy on the planet. When I put a balaclava on him, that's right, see? You always keep your nose out because you're adding the cool factor to it. All he now can see is his eyes. He has no idea how old he is. He has no idea what he's thinking, how scared he is. And people's voices crack. We teach people not to say a lot when you're wearing a balaclava. You put somebody down and you keep them down. But it's very hard to read that the boyish good looks of his behind a balaclava like that. That's really the main purpose for that. All he sees is those steely eyes. Right along the other lines of intimidation is what the SEALs were wearing. From the men in green faces to Iraq, they were known as the dirty soldiers, and by another number of names that the Iraqis would give them, to wearing these. And everybody hears that the guys are happy to die for their religion. That changes real quick when the doors get blown off of your house and you're ripped out of your bed in the middle of the night by the men with green eyes, and they're wearing these glow-in-the-dark masks. The SEALs would drive through the middle of the worst sections of Baghdad in high noon wearing these things, and no one would fire a shot at them. They were terrified of them. When I was a young SEAL, we were still using the stuff from Vietnam. It was a camouflage face cream, but it had this horrible insect repellent in it. When you put it on your face, buddy, it woke you up in the morning. So knowing that there's two types of operations, direct action and reconnaissance, and knowing with that there are two forms of camouflage face paint, proper and improper, I'm going to show you face painting 101, a proper form of camouflage face paint. And I'm using Hunter Specialty today. There's an awful lot on the market that you can get. This is man-made, of course, and down to your shoe polish and burnt corks. But we're going to start with his uniform and just using a little green and black. And I'll get some help here. Get your hand. And you just hang on there, tough guy. What you don't want to do with camouflage face paint is paint it on, and that is painting it on. You're going to smear this stuff in. This stuff washes off, it sweats off. You have to apply it frequently depending on what kind you're using, but there's never anything really wrong with applying a good coat of green. Now you can't do this with black. If you coat him with black, you're never going to blend in any of the green, but it's opposite with the green. So we'll try that over here. We'll just hit his side of the face. We're going to cover him in green right now. We don't want any raccoon eyes, meaning get that stuff in his eyes. You can touch his lips. We're just going to smear this in. You want to cover all exposed skin on him. I'm going to get his ears. I'm going to get behind his ears. I'm going to get the back of his neck. Just get a light coat on that. Good job. There you go. Do a little bit more down around there. Now, if you were a girl, would you want to be his girlfriend?
No.
Almost. You will here in a minute. So I've covered him in green, and now I'm just going to go to the black. And remember, the black is going to go on the high points of his face. And then you're just going to blend that all in. So I'll start right now, and you really got to be careful with the black. So I can just touch him up there, touch him up there. I can hit his ears that stick out a little bit, and start applying a little bit down here, his cheeks, the high points of his cheekbones. So I've got it with the blacks and the greens. I've covered the areas that I need to cover. Now I'm just going to start blending it in just a little bit. We'll increase these stripes down. I'm just making an irregular pattern, but I'm sticking with the basics of lighter in the recesses and darker on the higher points. Because of this uniform and this pattern, there are some browns, and you can see them in. The darker the shadows, the black, you can see the browns, the trees, the leaves. But if you use too much brown, you're gonna look like a big walking turd. So you gotta use brown ever so slightly, but that will bring it home. Now I'm just gonna start Xing this in just a little bit. Not too much brown, not too much black. Break it up. Look at the pattern here, but you keep with the fundamentals. How about them apples? How about that? The other parts of him that are a problem right now is certainly his blue t-shirt. So we're going to go ahead and button that up. His hands and arms, so we would roll his sleeves down. A lot of guys like wearing gloves. I never did. I would camouflage the tops of my hands only. You don't camouflage the bottoms of your hands. But a lot of guys like wearing gloves. I like my sense of touch. But we'll go ahead and camouflage those because your hands really stick out without those. And the last part we're going to worry about him is his big round melon. Nothing in nature has a big round head. That's the purpose of the flop hat. The flop hat is designed to break up the outline of your head. You don't look like a moose when you have that, even to a moose. A moose looks at you in the woods with that, and you don't look like a moose either. You look like a human. You have a big round head, and you need to break that up. The other thing is the silhouette of a man carrying a weapon is unmistakable day or night, if that's all you have is a shadow. So this flop hat is going to take care of that. We'll apply a little bit of foliage here for these straps that have that. You don't have to look like a Japanese soldier running through the jungle of World War II. But when you just bust up the front of your head, it's enough. A couple of things here. You don't want any of this too long that it just flaps and blows around. Just a little bit in the front of you if you're on this type of reconnaissance thing. And you would look at something as simple as that, the way those little flowers are pointed, or to these leaves, the difference between that and that. And you look straight in something, that's the type of leaf you see. That's the backside of it. And you get killed doing that. You really got to be careful the type of camouflage you use. You're only really camouflaging the front of you. A lot of guys look at those ghillie suits. Let me tell you something about a ghillie suit. A ghillie suit is extremely hot. Those big heavy suits, and they snag up on everything. So a lot of snipers are just worried about this profile of somebody seeing them. They're worried about their arms, their shoulders, their face, and their head from a final firing position, and that's what they're concealing up. And they make these pull-on ghillie suits now that really only conceal the shoulders. you're going to bake like a potato in a big ghillie suit like that, and really when you're only worried about the front. So there's not a whole lot that needs done to the back of him. You're just breaking up the outline a little bit more, and we're set. He's got a good coat of camo on, just some light things up in the front to further break up the outline of his head. So we'll go into a demonstration now of these two guys, some camouflage and concealment, and show you the difference between the two. The first guy's got a great set of camo on. His head is broken up by a little foliage and that flop hat. His weapon is camouflaged, and everything looks pretty good all through. And even a little bit of white like that, or this black handle, really kind of matches. It would be nitpicking at that point. The gloves, he looks really good. Our second guy, his camouflage, his weapon is not camouflaged, and his neckline is showing, and he's white. He doesn't have a flop hat on. His sleeves are rolled up a little bit, and he's not wearing any gloves. And when you do a side-by-side demonstration inside the woods, you'll clearly see how that all works. Okay, no quick movements, but go ahead and raise your hands up the back of them toward us. Turn your palm over. Go ahead and get up on your hands and knees. Slowly. Now go ahead and stand up. The final demonstration I'm going to use is demonstrating him just getting behind a very small tree and breaking up his outline. So can you stand up and move back along this tree and put your shoulder up against it and turn broadside to us. Sweep around so that you're only looking at us with one eye around that tree. Back your face up. That's it. Move back a little bit. One eye. Your weapon, everything right behind there, and you're just peering around with one eye. And what that is kind of a sniper peek. You don't stick your whole face out from around the tree. You can take that thing and just poke a single eye around that thing and have a look. And a sniper stalking through low foliage through there. They don't stick their head up to take a look. They can just stick one eye up and look over the top of it and go back down. And that's all he's doing now. He is breaking up his silhouette greatly through that, and just looking at us, just using one eye around that tree. And he is very hard to see. And it's a good demonstration. If he was back in there further of the shadows, you have to look at the shadows. So you have these colors here, you have these greens here, but the further you go back in there, the darker it gets. The further back in the shadows and the harder, absolutely harder you become to see. The deeper the shadow, the more there is for camouflage. Get back in there. It'd be a hard target to spot, even in broad daylight. Just a couple of quick tips for patrolling that we learn as young SEALs and perfect throughout our careers. Before you go out on a patrol, you do the jump test. And the jump test is aggressively jumping up and down to see what on you makes noise. So let's see it, boys. Outside of just some BBs and this weapon, nothing. They're streamlined. There's pistols, secondaries aren't slapping off of their side. There's no canteen sloshing, no magazines clicking off of each other. They did a good jump test. One of the things when patrolling, everyone gets sick on operations at sometimes, and that hacking cough. There's nothing out there that sounds like a cough. If you do that, we're always taught to take our hat off and stick it as far down in your mouth as you can and get as close to the ground. And cough into that. You give her a try? Shove it right up in there. There's a lot of ways of getting people's attention when you're on a patrol. Somebody that's doping off and not paying attention to you and throwing a rock at him, snapping your fingers is not the way to do it. Well, you don't need to do it often. The easiest way to get somebody's attention at night on a patrol or during the daytime is to go. It doesn't carry far. It doesn't sound like anything. It's not something that will grab people's attention. It doesn't sound man-made. It's just a simple, and that guy will hear it and turn around and watch you. Just a simple for that. One other tip for patrolling, especially when you're stocking up on sentries or positions, is making noise in sequence. You step on a stick and snap that thing, it's bad, but you're probably going to get away with it. You step on a second one, snap, snap, noise in sequence is dead giveaway. No matter how dumb that sentry is, he will know that there's someone out there. And again, it's why SEALs are so successful. We don't go in unless we're carrying the hammer. We know you don't expect us to be coming, and you certainly don't expect us to be coming on the worst weather night of the year and from a direction that most people would think is impassable. So, surprise, sustained superior firepower, and violence of action. That's how you get it done. There's all different kinds of ways to camouflage yourself. So this isn't the world according to Don Shipley. Just some simple, basic tips. You can take them in any direction you want. If it works and it's stupid, then it isn't stupid. And the last thing is enjoy the weapons painting class. It's very important when you go to all this length to camouflage and conceal yourself, but that weapon stands out as just jet shiny black. Stick out like a sore thumb. You need to get rid of it. All of it. Every part of you for camouflage.
Hopefully you guys found that entertaining. It was just part one of a 12 video series that's in the product. You can watch it from any device. Again, it's not a sales pitch for it. I just thought, here's some good content that I can put on my page. Hopefully you like it. And thanks for watching. I'm sorry it wasn't a gameplay video, but I've got some cool gameplay video coming up soon, such as with my ASG Ashbury 338 that I'm stoked about. Can't wait to see how this bad boy works. I'll do a full review video and gameplay video, and I've got lots more stuff coming up on my Swamp Sniper channel and swampsniper.com and all that. So again, I know it was long. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for supporting me. I'm just having fun and trying to learn film stuff and keep the airsoft sport just fun, you know? Find that good balance point between serious or kidding around too much. So thanks for joining me. I'll see you guys next time.